Harley Quinn number 5, written by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, art by Chad Hardin. So last issue, Harley was met by an old geriatric American secret agent named Cy Borgman. And he enlisted her to fight against some old, also geriatric Russians that were apparently old enemies of America. So we open up at a random chili dog place where Harley's just picking up a bunch of food and she's talking to Borgman. And he's like, look, all right, we're going to go on this mission tomorrow. We're going to start doing this stuff. I brought this file. It's got all of the enemies listed inside of it. I need you to take this home and study it like crazy. And he pulls it out of his souped up scooter that he's got. And we do a little bit where this guy comes up saying like, hey, what else you got in that scooter, old man? And Borgman's like, your mama. I had to read it, so I want to make sure you understand it's there too. So they leave, and he's like, yep, so look over all that tonight, and I'll pick you up tomorrow. And Borgman puts out that, like, if you help me with this, I can help you with the fact that someone has a bounty on your head. I've still got some high up contacts I can call to get that taken care of. So we see Harley walking down the street. She ends up at a burlesque show where Tony is acting as the bouncer, and she's basically like, yeah, go on in. The landlady gets to watch free. So she goes in, gets like popcorn and a whole bunch of food and stuff. And as they're doing this burlesque show, the whole bit of it is that it looks like it is this like native god thing. Like the woman who's doing the dancing is a goddess, and then she starts getting in like a knife fight with one of the people who summoned her, and it's all done through like very native looking stuff. But Harley gets so into it that she's like spraying her drink everywhere and she's chewing really loud. And finally, as the knife fight starts taking off, she leaps over the crowd, stepping on people to get to the stage, tackles one of the guys who's performing, and immediately everyone calls out like, Harley, what are you doing? It's a show. We're on stage. And she's like, I don't know. This knife fight seemed really convincing. And everybody starts like yelling at Harley in the audience. One of the guys brings around actual Rotten Tomatoes, which it says 78%, which is pretty good Rotten Tomato score. And then they start pelting it at Harley. So immediately they go backstage, and Harley's like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know what came over me. And everyone's like, it's no big deal, Harley. And we have Queenie and Tony, which Tony obviously has a crush on Queenie. Queenie basically says, like, hey, why don't we go out for dinner and we can make Tony pay? And Tony's like, yeah, great, awesome. So I don't know what happens there, but then we cut to Harley is back at home. She was looking over the files and she's fallen asleep. And we get like 3 pages of a nightmare sequence of a bunch of Russian spy like themed things. Like we see Harley getting shot on a plane, she falls down to the ocean, and chili dogs, and then all of a sudden she wakes up and she's like, oh god, I need a bathroom stat. So the next morning, Harley's at her day job. She's talking to one of the old people there who's super happy that her family is now coming to visit her because Harley threatened them last issue. And Harley's like, yep, well, that's great, but I gotta run. I gotta somewhere to be. And she strips off and puts on her Harley Quinn outfit, meets up with Borgman, and they're up on top of the roof of the nursing home. And apparently right across the street is a hospital where one of the guys is comatose. He's just practically a vegetable. But Borgman's like, nah, he's a tricky one. He may very well be faking it. We got to take him by surprise so he can't get at us. So they use a grappling hook and take the scooter across the grapple all the way, crashing into the window. And as they get in there, the dude's still comatose. And it's just like, no, he's tricky, but like, let's go ahead and yank out these cables and stuff, keeping him alive. See how long that takes him to die. And so he pulls out all the cables. He's still going. They cut his oxygen tube. He's still going. Borgman charges up like an electric-powered fist. He's still going. And finally, Harley's just like, hold on, let me see that air tube. And she gets the air tube and she blows as hard as she can into it. And all of a sudden, the dude just explodes like blood everywhere. And Harley's like, Jesus, all right, I guess I exploded his arteries. So he's flatlining. They make their way out of the room. He's dead. So they're like, all right, well, that was faster than I thought it would be. Let's go ahead and knock 2 out tonight. So they're going after another one called Ivana Brekhamov. Yes, it's a pun. They're all puns. I forget who the first one was, but like they all are. So they're about to hop in a taxi. We see Boardman is just haggling with the taxi driver on how much he's supposed to pay him. And then eventually they get in and drive to this very gated looking mansion. And they walk up to the gate. Security guards are like, what are you doing here? And it's like, we're from the deli. We brought cheeseburgers. And it's like, the deli doesn't sell cheeseburgers. So they get into a fight. They're immediately caught by security. And we see the woman that they're after, Ivana, is an explosions expert, and so she's set up like missiles and stuff. She's ready to go. Harley manages to get in and get her into a headlock. She's like, "Oh, I got her," and Ivana says, "You'll never take me alive, Cyborg." She pulls out a little trigger switch, presses it, and her whole house explodes. And a little caption box at the end says like, "Oh my, how will Harley and Cyborg get out of this one?" I mean, they obviously will, because the book's going to continue, but check out next issue regardless. So, that's the book. Okay. I feel so bad talking about this book, and I feel like I'm going to be saying this for like 30 issues in a row, is that it's just not my humor. You know, sometimes a joke will land. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that's pretty funny. I like the pun names here. I think that they can be somewhat clever, but like, the whole thing with the stage routine, maybe we're setting up for something else. Maybe there's something else going on, but like, I don't get it. I don't understand what we're doing here. You know, it doesn't contribute to the plot. It's not its own funny thing. It's just kind of like, here's Harley being an idiot. Laugh. You know, so it's not a poorly made issue. I recognize that objectively. It's just not for me, you know? But unfortunately, I don't get to pick and choose on this show. So overall, I'd say this one's probably like, for me, 6, maybe even a 5.5. I'm going to say 6, just give it the benefit of the doubt. But like, as this continues on, unless they like really do something that's interesting to me, I'm losing interest fast. We're only 5 issues in and I'm just already out.